You know the room I mean. It is 9:17 at night, and you are sitting on the edge of an upstairs bed with your shirt sticking to your back. The hallway thermometer still says 86 degrees, not outside, inside. The sun has been gone a while, but the room is holding the whole day like a brick oven that forgot how to cool down. The curtains hang dead. Nothing moves. The air feels used up. Warm from the ceiling down. Warm behind the dresser. Warm in the pillow. You can almost feel the heat sitting in the plaster, in the carpet, in the door frame. And downstairs, maybe the electric bill is still lying on the counter, folded once because you already looked at it and you did not care to look twice. That bill felt like a punishment, so you turned the air conditioner off early, or you set it higher than comfort, or you told yourself you could make it to bedtime. Now the house is quiet, but it is not resting. It is just hot. Now I want you to sit with this. The old way I am going to show you is not a gadget. It is not a fan in front of a bucket of ice. It is not one more thing to buy and store and plug in and fix next July. It is a $0, no power cross breeze path, that is all. A path. You use the house itself like a slow hand pump for heat. You give cooler air a low place to come in. You give warm air a higher or downwind place to leave. You open the middle so it can travel. Then you stop before the outside heat comes back and steals what you gained. Most folks get this wrong because they open every window they can reach at the wrong time of day, in the wrong order, and then they say, well, that did nothing. It did nothing because the house was never given a path. It was given a mess. I'm a farmer. I was raised plain in the old ways, and I work by the same rule my people always used. Use what the house, the land, and the weather already give you before you buy another machine. I will be honest with you, right at the start, the way I always am. This does not make hot air cold. It is not air conditioning. It does not turn August into October. What it does is move cooler outside air through the house when the weather gives you that chance, and it carries stale heat out with it. I'll tell you when it cools a house. I'll tell you when it does not. And I'll tell you when heat is dangerous enough that you should not play games with it. But there is one thing about the old cross-breeze method that sounds backward until you have lived with it a few summers. It begins by closing things, not opening them. We will come back to that. A good many houses in this country are built around the idea that comfort comes from a box with wires in it. I am not against machines. I have used machines. I know men who repair them. And most of those men are honest working men with sore knees and hot addicts in their memory. But the machine has become the first thought. The Department of Energy says air conditioners are in 88% of American homes. Central systems are in 66%. Air conditioning uses about 12% of household electricity in this country, and homeowners spend about $29 billion a year on it. That is not pocket change. That is groceries. That is fence repair. That is school shoes. That is an old truck part you were hoping not to buy this month. And if the system quits, then the numbers get heavier. A central air replacement can run from $3,000 to $15,000, with the average sitting around $7,000. Even the yearly lookover can commonly cost $80 to $250. Again, I am not saying those men should not be paid. I am saying a house has air in it before it has equipment on it. The business of cooling sells units, ductwork, filters, repairs, yearly service, and new thermostats with little glowing faces. It does not often begin by standing in the hallway at sunset and asking, where does this house want the heat to go? That is the old question. That is the one we are after. The weather people at NOAA were already calling for above normal temperatures in late June and early July of 2026 across Alaska, the western half of the country, and the southern tier, with possible stretches of excessive heat in the west. So this is not some wintertime thought. This is a right-now thought for people sitting in real houses with real bills and real rooms that do not cool after sundown. The free force is pressure. Stay with me. When wind touches a house, it is not just drifting around like dust in a barn. It is pressing on one side. That side is the windward side, the downwind side. The leeward side is where the air can leave. If you give the wind one opening to enter and another opening to escape, the house becomes part of the air's road. The Department of Energy explains natural ventilation this same way. Wind can enter or leave through open windows depending on which way those windows face. The windward openings receive the air, the leeward openings exhaust it. That is the plain version. Air needs a door in and a door out. If you only open one window, you may get a little flutter at the curtain. You may smell the grass. You may hear the crickets better. But the room may still sit heavy because the air has no reason to keep traveling. It bumped in and stalled. A good cross breeze is not just an open window. It is an entrance and an exit. The wind side is your push. The far side is your pull. And you do not always know by guessing out here. A wind may come out of the west most evenings, except when a storm has been around or the valley cools and the air slips downhill after dark. A town street can turn wind sideways. A neighbor's garage can block it. A porch can soften it. That is why an old man does not just throw windows open and call himself wise. He tests. A strip of scrap paper will tell you more truth than a fine speech. Hold it at the crack of a window. If it leans inward, that place wants to be an intake. If it pushes outward, that place wants to be an exit. If it hangs there like a tired sock, that opening is not doing much tonight. I'll show you the exact window order in a minute. Before that, you need the second force, because wind is not the only worker in this job. Warm air rises. Everybody says that, but many people do not use it. Upstairs rooms roast because heat gathers high. It climbs stairwells. It sits under ceilings. It gets trapped in bedrooms where the roof has been baking all day. You can walk up a stairway at night and feel the temperature change on your face, like stepping into a different season. That is not imagination. That is the house stacking its heat. The Department of Energy calls it the stack effect or chimney effect. Cool air enters through lower openings. It absorbs heat. It rises. Then it exits through upper openings. And that leaving air helps pull more low air in behind it. I do not know the fancy name for every little motion inside a wall. I know what happens when you crack the low-shaded window near the porch and open the top sash upstairs. The house gives a slow sigh. The stairwell stops feeling like a stovepipe and starts acting like one. There is a difference. One holds heat. The other lets it go. This is why a low-in, high-out path often beats a random set of open windows. A low-shaded intake brings in the coolest air you have available. A high exit gives the warmest trapped air a way out. The warmer air leaving creates a pull behind it. Not a hurricane, not a miracle, just a steady draw you can feel if the night is kind to you. Pressure moves across. Heat rises up. A wise person uses both. Now comes the rule that keeps this method honest. The clock matters. The same window that helps you at 10 at night can hurt you at noon. The same breeze that feels like mercy in the morning can bring in heat by lunchtime. A window is not good or bad by itself. It depends on what is outside it. Honest is better than impressive. If the air outdoors is hotter than the air indoors, do not invite it in and then brag about old ways. That is not old wisdom. That is just letting the oven door stand open. Start with a thermometer, not a guess, not your mood, not the fact that you are tired of being hot. Set one thermometer inside or look at the hallway reading. Check outside in the shade, not on a sunny porch rail and not against brick that has been baking since noon. When outside air is cooler than inside air, the house may be ready to breathe. The Department of Energy says natural ventilation works best in dry climates and in moderate weather with cool nights. That matters. A dry place can let night air do good work. A place with cool evenings can dump the heat it collected all day. But a damp, heavy place is different. Humid air can bring its own trouble, And the same Department of Energy warns that natural ventilation can contribute to mold or mildew in humid climates. It also does not filter or condition the air coming in. That means smoke comes in if smoke is outside. Pollen comes in if pollen is outside. Ozone and pollution do not become wholesome just because you open the window with good intentions. There is another line, and it is a hard one. The CDC warns not to rely only on fans in very hot conditions. Fans should be used only if the indoor temperature is less than 90 degrees, because above 90 a fan can increase body temperature. Moving hot air across a body is not the same as cooling that body. Ask anybody who has stood in front of an open oven. This cross-breeze method is stronger than a fan alone when the outdoors is cooler, because it exchanges air instead of just stirring it. But if your house is 90 degrees or hotter inside, or someone in the home is elderly, sick, pregnant, very young, or sensitive to heat, do not make pride your plan. Get cooler help. Use air conditioning if you have it. Go to a cooling place if you must. Call somebody. Old ways were never meant to be stubborn ways. They were meant to be living ways. The Department of Energy also says ventilation is the least expensive and most energy-efficient way to cool buildings. But listen to the rest of it. It works best when it is paired with stopping heat before it builds up. That means shades. It means curtains. It means not running heat-making chores in the hottest part of the day. So this is not only open windows. It is managing heat like you manage water in a ditch. You guide it, you block it, you let it run when the grade is right. Here is what you need. 2 windows that open on different sides of the house or on different levels. Existing windows. $0. 1 interior door or hallway path that can be left open so air is not trapped in one room. Find which way the air is moving. Scrap. A pencil mark or a small piece of tape on the window frames, so you know your night open position and your day closed position without thinking through the whole matter every evening. Scrap. The total is $0. That keeps the promise. No AC, no power needed for the cross breeze path itself, no purchase device, no new box on the porch, no cord across the floor for someone to trip over in the dark. Waste nothing. Now let us walk through it as if tonight is the night. The sun has gone down. The roof is still warm. The kitchen may still have a little heat in it from supper. The upstairs bedrooms are worse. You do not begin by opening everything. You begin by measuring. Check the indoor temperature. Then check outside in the shade. I use a simple field rule. Start only when the outdoor air is at least 2 degrees cooler than the indoor air. That 2 degrees is not a government command. It is a conservative working rule. It keeps you from opening the house when the difference is so small that one warm wall or one sunny porch can fool you. If it is 86 inside and 84 outside, you can begin carefully. If it is 86 inside and 89 outside, leave the house shut and shaded. Wait. Once the outside air is cooler, choose your intake. This is the window where air comes in. The best intake is usually on the shaded side, the porch side, the basement side, or the lowest safe window that has cooler air near it, not the window over the hot driveway if you can help it, not the sunny side still breathing heat off the brick. Open that intake 4 to 6 inches, not wide open. A smaller opening can sometimes pull cleaner and steadier, because it gives the air a clear mouth. Too many wide openings can make the flow lazy and scattered. You are not trying to impress the house. You are trying to lead it. Then choose the exit. The exit should be on the downwind side, across the house, diagonal from the intake if you can manage it, or higher upstairs if you are using the stack effect. Open the exit equal to or wider than the intake. If the intake is 5 inches, make the exit 5 inches or more. That gives the air permission to leave. That sounds small until you feel it. I remember one summer evening when my grandfather stood in a hallway with a match blown out between his fingers, using only the smoke to see what the house wanted. He did not wave his arms. He did not talk much. He opened one downstairs window. the width of his hand, then opened an upstairs sash a little wider. The smoke turned and went up the stairs like it had been called. He nodded once. That was the whole lesson. Open the path between the two. A hallway door, a stair door, a room door, a transom if you have one of those old beauties still in place. Do not let a closed bedroom door kill the whole work. Do not let a couch, a bookcase, or a heap of laundry stand in the path and make the air split and die. Clear at least a 3-foot walking path through the route. Again, that is a field rule, not a laboratory number. 3 feet is enough that a person can walk through without turning sideways, and air likes a path that does not have to fight every chair leg and basket. Then use the paper strip. Hold it for 30 seconds at the intake. Not 3 seconds. 38 can pulse. A passing car can fool you. A door opening can fool you. Give it half a minute. The strip should pull inward at the intake. Then take it to the exit. It should push outward there. If both ends pull inward, you have 2 mouths and no tail. Find another exit. If both push outward, the house is trying to exhaust from both places and it needs a calmer intake. If neither moves much, the night may be too still, or your chosen openings may not be across enough from each other. Do not get mad at the method. Adjust the path. In a 2-story house, the old way often works best with a lower shaded intake and the highest safe upstairs window as the exhaust. Heat wants to be up there anyway. Let it leave from where it is already waiting. If you have a stairwell, use it like a chimney. If you have an upstairs hall window, that may become your relief valve. If you have only bedrooms upstairs, then one bedroom door may need to stay open, and one safe window may need to be the high exit until bedtime. You will learn your own house in 3 nights if you pay attention. One night, try the north window as intake. Mark it. Another night, try the porch window. Use the paper. Use your hand. Use the smell of the room. A hot room that is changing will smell less stale after a few minutes. The pillow will not feel cool yet, but the air near the door will lose that trapped feeling. Safety word. Do not open a window that creates a child fall risk. Do not open one where a pet can push out a screen. Do not open one that turns your sleeping house into an easy place for a thief. Do not open windows when wildfire smoke is outside, or heavy pollution, or rain blowing sideways against an outlet or cord. Do not trust a rotten sash, a loose screen, or a window that slams when the wind shifts. Use screens. Use stops. Use locks that allow a small opening if you have them. Stay home while the windows are open. And if the indoor temperature is 90 degrees or higher, or if there is a baby, an older person, a pregnant woman, a sick person, or anyone heat sensitive in the house, do not rely on this alone. I am saying that plain because a person can make a religion out of saving money and still end up in trouble. No electric bill is worth a life. Once the night air is moving, leave the path alone for a while. Do not keep changing every window every 10 minutes. A house needs time to give up its heat. Walls hold heat. Floors hold heat. Furniture holds heat. An upstairs room that baked for 12 hours may need an hour or 2 of steady exchange before it feels different. You are not cooling, only air. You are asking the room to let go. Before the sun hits the glass in the morning, close the windows. That is where many people lose the whole harvest. They wake up, feel a little coolness, get busy with coffee, and leave everything open until the sun is already on the east windows and the outside air is climbing. By then, the house is not breathing out heat anymore. It is drinking it back in. Close the windows before that happens. Close the direct sunshades too. If you miss that hour, you can trap heat instead of saving cool. The house that felt better at 6:30 can feel worse by 10 because you gave the sun a clear pane of glass and an open road. The part most folks miss is what to close first, and that is where the old people were sharper than we are. The morning order is simple. Close the sunny side first. Then close the warm side windows. Then close the rest as outside temperature catches indoor temperature. If one shaded side is still cooler for another half hour, you can use it, but do not leave the whole house open out of habit. Midday has its own rule. Do not bake at noon if you can bake after sundown. Do not boil a big pot in the hottest hour unless you must. Do not run the dryer and then wonder why the hallway feels like a laundry chimney. Do not open a sunny window because the room feels stuffy unless outside air is actually cooler or cleaner. Use shades like barn doors against sun. I put the No Power Summer Cooling checklist in the little guide below, so you can mark your windows once and not think about it every hot night. That little mark matters. A pencil line on a sash can save you from guessing when you are tired. A piece of tape can tell your children, "This is the night opening, no wider." A note by the back door can say, "Close east shades before breakfast." These are small things, but small things done every day become the house's manners. The old houses knew this. Not every old house was good. Some were drafty in winter, some were damp, some were built poor because the family had no money for better. I will not paint the past gold when it was made of sweat and splinters. But the people who built before air conditioning paid attention to air because they had to. Down south, there were dogtrot houses. A dogtrot house had 2 living parts with a breezeway down the middle under one roof. Before air conditioning and before electricity reached many rural homes, that open middle could catch a cross breeze. Windows on different sides helped the air move through. Folks often found that breezeway was the coolest place in the house. That breezeway was not decoration. It was cooling by shape. Porches did the same kind of work. They shaded walls before sun could load them with heat. They gave people a place to sit outside the hot rooms. They protected windows, so those windows could sometimes stay cracked in light rain. A deep porch is a kind of mercy built out of boards. Tall rooms help too. Heat could rise above the heads of the people sitting below. High windows, if they opened, could vent the warmest air. Transoms over doors let air pass, even when a door was mostly shut. Separated kitchens kept cooking heat from swallowing the sleeping rooms. None of that was accidental. It was the wisdom of people who could not push a button and buy comfort from the wall. The English had wires before they had wisdom about air. I say that gently, because I have learned plenty from modern folks, and I use my share of modern things, but sometimes a wired house forgets it. It is still a house. It still has a sunny side and a shaded side. It still has low rooms and high rooms. It still has air wanting to move if you stop blocking it. You may not own a dog trot. Most people do not. That is fine. We are not trying to turn your house into 1850. We are trying to find the breezeway hidden inside the plan you already have. It may be from the back bedroom to the front hall. It may be from the basement side window to the upstairs landing. It may be from a shaded kitchen window through the dining room and out a leeward living room window. It may only work in one part of the house. That is still worth knowing. A cooler bedroom is not nothing. A hallway that releases heat is not nothing. A kitchen that does not hold supper heat until midnight is not nothing. Now we can answer the backward part. Why does the old cross breeze method begin by closing things, not opening them? Because you are not just chasing a breeze. You are harvesting cool. That is the whole term. At night, when outside air becomes cooler than inside air, you open a chosen path and let the house dump the heat it carried all day. In the morning, before the sun and outdoor heat return, you shut the house like a cellar. You keep the cool you gathered. You close the glass against the sun. You stop the day from walking in early. The Department of Energy says in summer, window coverings should be closed to reduce heat gain. It also says 75% of residential window coverings stay in the same position every day. That means most houses are not being managed. They are being left. A shade left open on an east window at breakfast can undo a good part of last night's work. A west window uncovered in late afternoon can load a room with heat right before bedtime. A house can have good windows and still behave badly because nobody is tending the light. Tightly installed cellular shades can reduce unwanted solar heat through windows by up to 60%. That number is worth pausing over. not because every person must go buy new shades. I am not slipping a sales pitch under the door, but it proves the old instinct was right. Glass is a heat gate. Coverings matter. A closed shade is not just privacy in summer at the right hour, it is a tool. So the first closing is daytime protection. Close the sunny coverings before the sun strikes hard. The second closing is morning protection. Close the windows before outdoor heat catches the indoor cool. The third closing is discipline. Close off the habits that make heat indoors when you do not need them. There, the oven at noon, the dryer at 3, the bright sunny window opened out of restlessness. That is why the method begins by closing. Opening is the easy part. Keeping what you earned is the old part. My grandmother would do this without making a lesson of it. Morning came, and the east curtains were drawn before breakfast dishes were done. A west room stayed dim until the sun moved on. At night, when the air softened, windows opened in a pattern, not a panic. Nobody called it a system. It was just how you kept a house from being foolish. That kettle. Well, let me back up. A house is like a kettle in one way. If you keep adding heat and never lift the lid, it stays hot. But if the room outside the kettle is hotter than the kettle, lifting the lid does not help. You wait until there is somewhere for the heat to go. Then you vent it. Then you cover it before more heat falls in. That is all we are doing. But I want the linnets plain before we close. This will fail on some nights. If the air outside stays hotter than the air inside, there is no cool to harvest. If the night is still as a sealed jar, wind pressure may not help much. The stack effect can still move a little air in a 2-story house, but it may be slow. If the humidity is high, the house may feel worse even if the thermometer looks better. Damp air sits on the skin. Damp air can feed mold and mildew where a house already has moisture trouble. Natural ventilation does not dry the air the way an air conditioner can. If wildfire smoke is outside, do not pull it through your bedrooms. If pollen is making someone sick, do not pretend a breeze is medicine. If the neighborhood is unsafe for open windows, then safety wins. If the only available window is painted shut, rotten, too low for a child's room, or missing a proper screen or stop, then that is not a cooling opening. That is a problem to fix before you use it. And if your house stays 90 degrees or higher inside, especially with vulnerable people under the roof, call for help. That help may be HVAC repair. It may be weatherization. It may be insulation. It may be attic ventilation. It may be a safe electrical cooling plan. It may be a cooling center for a dangerous spell. There is no shame in that. Old wisdom is not refusing help. Old wisdom is knowing what each tool can do and what it cannot. Cross breeze cooling moves heat, stale air, and trapped upper room warmth out when the weather gives you cooler air to work with. It can make a house noticeably more comfortable at night or early morning. It can lower the burden on mechanical cooling. It can help you run the AC less or later or only where you truly need it. But it does not create cold air. It does not clean dirty air. It does not beat a heat emergency by itself. That is the truth, and truth is useful. So tonight, if your house is holding heat after sundown, do not begin with every window. Begin with the thermometer. Find the cooler outside air. Pick the shaded intake. Pick the far or high exit. Open the path between them. Test it with paper for 30 seconds. Let the house breathe. Then, before morning sun gets its hand on the glass, close and shade what needs closing. Do that 3 evenings, and you will know more about your house than many people know after living in one for 20 years. You will know which window pulls, which hallway blocks, and where the heat hides after supper. And once you know that, you are not helpless. You may still use the machine. You may still need it. But you will not be entirely at the mercy of it. Tell me in the comments which room in your house holds the heat the worst after sundown. Upstairs, bedroom, kitchen, hallway, or something else. I read every single one. Next time, I'll show you the porch shade method that stops the sun before it ever touches the glass. Until then, watch the evening air. Mark your windows. Close before the heat returns. Keep the children safe. Keep the house shaded. And remember that the people who built this country with their hands knew things we are only just starting to remember.